Click the first link in the description for the best Askreddit content. Is my best friend / roommate, F22, toxic, or am I, F22, being sensitive? This is a gut-wrenching question, but I need an outside perspective on what I'm feeling / perceiving and what is actually happening. This may be long, but I need to get everything out. My best friend and I have been friends for a year and a half. Met through grad school and are currently roommates. We're the opposites of each other. She's type A, practical, gets it right the first time, never is stuck, confident, smart, driven, goal-oriented, planner, yet spontaneous. She says she's an optimist, but I believe she's actually a pessimist. Others have told me she is intimidating and don't know if she is trying to one-up them. I'm very type B, messy, require multiple opportunities to understand / master, average intelligence, live in the now, laid back, and try to be an optimist. I've noticed some things about her ever since I met her, but pushed through it thinking it was a just me thing. Here are some things that make me rethink. 1. Pressures me to do things I wouldn't do. Ask guys to dance when I told her I felt uncomfortable. BC I have a BF. Made me feel bad because I guess you're not in a trusting relationship like I am. 2. Talk down to me because I wasn't agreeing with her, feels a little like gaslighting. She asks for my opinion, then belittles me that it's not what she would do. 3. Feel like I have to lie to make myself seem better around her. She has straight A's in classes and talks down about people who had lower scores on a quiz than her. BC she thought it was easy. Doesn't help that she's by far the smartest person in our cohort and was valedictorian for HS and undergrad. I feel like I'm never good enough. 4. Makes me feel bad about the choices I make, closing my bedroom door when we're both home, what I'm doing for a project. Are you sure you want to do that? Because I think. 5. Talks about herself and expects me to congratulate her, but doesn't seem to care when I talk about myself. If she wears a cute outfit, I will go out of my way to tell her that she looks cute. If I wear a cute outfit, she doesn't say anything. If I get a good score, she says something along the lines of, oh, well, most everyone got that score. Talks / flaunts about her upcoming wedding plans. She is engaged to established dude, but doesn't care / understand that my BF and I are waiting until we have stable jobs. However, she has taught me a great deal about things too. She's taught me to be more spontaneous, think through my actions, to be more out there, and she also gives pretty good advice. She knows what all the fun things to do and where all the fun places are. I may be sensitive to things because I'm less confident in myself. Let me know what you guys think. Too long didn't read. Friend makes me feel pressured to do things and feel bad about myself. I don't think you're being too sensitive, it just sounds like she's not a very good friend. She's too busy trying to build herself up at the expense of others. I can almost guarantee you it's due to her own insecurities, but that's not an excuse to treat someone the way she treats you. Thank you for your response. She has mentioned that she gets anxious, so she may be acting out like this because of it. She's not your best friend, she's someone who's thrilled she has a person, you, to be condescending to and to lord power over. Minimizing your successes or even just efforts is a prime example of this. It boosts her ego to have someone she seems less than to compare herself to. God, I relate to this so much. I met a girl when I started university exactly like your friend. She was so on it with all her work, so bubbly and energetic, but also very emotionally draining. I felt like I had to accompany her everywhere and have a great time with her, and absorb her emotions when she vent to me daily like some kind of sad therapy sponge. Like you, I'm pretty down to earth and laid back. I'd pretty much just cook my dinner and close my bedroom door to unwind and watch Netflix, but to her that meant I was free and she'd force me out to socialize with her more. It was exhausting. It wasn't a happy friendship for me. I felt like I had to agree to everything she said. Tried to make it seem like we were drifting apart because I was terrified of conflict. I'd heard how she'd fallen out with people before and knew how manipulative she could be. Her ex-friends sounded like monsters and I knew I'd sound the same to whoever she told me about. Long story short, I tried to avoid her and eventually it just got weird weird and she asked what she'd done wrong. I made up some lame excuse that we drifted apart and it honestly wasn't fair on either of us that I didn't get to express my feelings and she didn't get the truth. Just talk to her. Say you're feeling uncomfortable with the dynamic of your friendship. I was in a place where I didn't even want to fix it, I just wanted out. I don't know where you're at with that, but be honest. It'll be a shitty conversation, but it's the right thing to do and it's what you owe each other. Good luck and maybe have another apartment lined up, Lamau. Also, I feel like the brunt of the joke when we hang out with her friend and fiance. You'll never guess what Dollop did before we got here. I feel like a lot of what you said here is bad enough that it's more her problem than yours. I don't think I understand what you mean. BF, M22, is arguing that it's completely acceptable to take a baby, 3mo, on a 3-hour road trip in loud WRX for a week-long trip to H2OI. My, F24, uncle, M30s, and his family including his wife, F30s, son, M4, daughter, Fimo, went to the beach this week. My BF, M22, discovered that it was the week of H2OI, a car event in Ocean City, Maryland, and was asking if they had decided to take my uncle's modded blob WRX. I asked him why he would think they would decide to drive such an impractical and loud car rather than their large family SUV, and he said for the event. And how is it impractical? 1. The baby needs to sleep but the car is very loud. 2. Baby eats every 2 hours and the wife is breastfeeding, so she would most likely have to squeeze in between 2 car seats in the back the entire drive. 3. I argued that there wouldn't be a point of him taking that car since he wouldn't be participating in the event and driving it around the strip anyway, and he said you never know, his friends are going too. Which basically tells me he thinks it's okay for my uncle to either ditch his wife with 2 small children to drive around the strip with his friends or squeeze them into the back seat so he can have fun, disregarding what his family might want to do, like go to the beach or the boardwalk or arcades and have actual family time on their family vacation. I believe it is perfectly logical to drive their MDX to the beach and walk down the strip occasionally to see the cars that will be there rather than drive the WRX. It's what a sensible adult with a family should do, at least until the baby is a few years old. At this point I am aggravated that he is choosing to argue this with me and feel uncomfortable with his stance because we have been together for 6 years and if things work out we plan to get married and maybe have a family of our own down the road. But his priorities are out of whack and it bothers me that he might never grow out of this headspace, so I just want to ask if I'm crazy for feeling this way about this or if I'm being uptight. Too long didn't read. BF thinks driving a loud car with a breastfeeding 3mo baby in tow to a car event 3 hours away is a sensible thing to do. I disagree and am wondering who the crazy one here is. Are these concerns just coming from this one profoundly stupid argument? His uncle and aunt are the actual parents here, let them do the parenting and making the right decisions for their children. Your boyfriend is 22 and it doesn't sound like he has a lot of experience with children, which isn't really uncommon for a 22-year-old guy. Honestly, while you're right his idea of taking that car down there with the baby makes 0 sense, he really just sounds like a 22-year-old dude whose priority right now is more fun than family. Wait, this entire argument is about a hypothetical situation that may not have actually happened? You guys are arguing whether it's practical for someone else to take their baby in their car on their vacation? I'm more concerned about the level of conflict in your relationship than this particular scenario. Do you feel like you're able to talk about what concerns you without the conversation spiraling out of control? If not, you may need to take a step back and think about how you communicate with each other and how you can disagree more productively. With eating, I would expect them to stop the car, and likely feed kid outside anyway. But if in car, she will take baby out of seat anyway, at which point it can be in front. With participating, I have no idea how their family organize thing. Some allow one partner to split away for a bit, some switch splitting, others never split. But, it is pretty normal for childless 22 years old to not think this through. Don't know how loud that car is. Babies generally sleep well in noisy car, often better than in silent room. But if it is too noisy it might harm ears. So it depends on that. None of you is crazy. You have baby thing more thought out in practicals, but since he is childless 22 years old, I don't see his nativity as terrible. Made sure you two are on the same page regarding leaving partner with kids while you have fun, meaning he knows you object. You say he is a good son and helpful to family, so it should not be big deal. Are you upset that your BF has a different opinion than you? I think as time goes on you'll learn to not argue over other people's choices or hypotheticals. On a side note, part of being a parent is still doing the things you enjoy, driving a show car in this case, while still being responsible. Honestly, it seems inconvenient, but it's not harmful or neglectful to the children to squeeze in a small car and go to a car show. That's how memories are made. Kids aren't made of glass. That could possibly be a treasured lifetime memory for the older kid. Is he being unfair? We have been together for 1 year. I'm 28F and my fiancé is 27M. My sister recently started smoking weed and I am not interested in smoking weed at all, but I told my fiancé about it and he said hopefully you stay away from her if she's going to be doing that stuff. And I'm like, of course I'm not going to stay away from her, she's my sister. Just because I don't smoke weed doesn't mean I'm going to disown her because she chooses to. He didn't continue to argue about that specific thing he said, but it escalated into other arguments. I said I would be open to trying weed but I wasn't interested in doing it all the time. He said if I did that he would break up with me because it goes against his beliefs. I can understand if I became a pothead and he broke up with me, but if I just tried just to try it because I haven't before, I don't expect him to just end our relationship. I told him if the roles were reversed I would never break up with him. It just seems like something silly to break up with someone for. If he did something I didn't approve of, I might be mad, but I would never just end our relationship. This really bothers me that he would just throw away our relationship for something like that. I don't want to live my life scared to do certain things in fear that he would dump me. Am I the one that is being unfair or is he? Thank you in advance. TL, Dr. Fiancé is stating that he would break up with me if I try smoking pot one time. Edit, because of course Op left out the real issue. While he certainly has the right to break up with her for any reason, the fact remains that it is a silly reason to break up with someone. Threatening to break up over something so small strikes me as controlling behavior. That said, if he wants to date someone who 100% matches his own personal beliefs, he can go ahead and try to find someone like that. I mean, good luck. You don't want to be with someone who can't find it in them to respectfully disagree with you anyway. He can have whatever beliefs he wants, and establish what boundaries he chooses with regard to what he will and will not accept in a partner, and it's no one's place, not yours, not mine, not anyone's, to tell him that he cannot have those boundaries. He can't tell you that you are not allowed to smoke weed, but he is entirely within his rights to say I will not be with a person who smokes weed. Heck, he'd be within his rights to say I will not be with a person who wears matching socks. You might think his decision is silly or arbitrary, but that doesn't matter, because it's his decision, not yours. So if one of your boundaries is I will not be with a person who would leave me if I smoked weed, well then, this is not the guy for you. What is the belief? That someone who smokes pot is so badly behaved that family has to stay away? That if you spend time with your sister, who smokes weed, you will inevitably get sucked in? Is it that even one experiment with weed is not okay? Think you need to get on the same page about what exactly the belief is so that you can go from there. However, I feel this way about illegal hard drugs, like coke, heroin, etc. Even once is one time too many. Immediate dump for me. So someone saying, well, I'm open to trying it, and I will be hanging out with someone doing it regularly would be a major flag for me. Get rid of him. That's it. He said if I did that he would break up with me because it goes against his beliefs. I can understand if I became a pothead and he broke up with me, but if I just tried just to try it because I haven't before, I don't expect him to just end our relationship. Well, he's told you how he feels. He clearly feels very strongly about it. Yes, there's a scale, but everyone's entitled to their deal breakers. Ask yourself this: is weed so important to you that you're willing to end your relationship over it? Discuss it, sure, see why he feels this strongly, but arguing about it isn't helpful. Or does your relationship mean so little to him that he's willing to break up with you over one pull on a joint?